It's gin o'clock, baby. Hey!
Oh, on the gins, are you? Gin
That's
o'clock. Let's go.
I'm glad you're sticking to the script of what we said about 2 minutes ago.
Hey, the fan was on, man. I gotta turn that shit off. It's like the rain last week. I was like, damn, you really can hear that. Like, you could actually full on hear that Perth rain through the,
It was very
through the
loud.
mics. So,
Speaking of which, it's been
very
lovely
loud.
though the last 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere on that. It's like, it's been lovely because all our lovely fans have been watching our videos. No, I thought you were talking about the weather.
Yeah,
the weather's been really nice. Yeah, it was good to be at work today because I mentioned last week that a fence came flying down into our pool, so I had to fix that, and that's because of the horrible weather. But the weather today was good, so thank God, because trying to fix that in the wind and the wet last week was a nightmare.
It has been lovely. I think it goes back to rain over the weekend. I think Sunday's miserable, but hey,
for the derby,
that's right.
We love it.
Means they're both gonna lose.
Oh my God, I love it.
The derby's on Saturday anyway.
Yes.
But both of our Perth footy teams are absolutely horrific at playing in the wet. So that's a double thumbs up.
That's what a derby is, and I love how you spoke about Freo last week. I'm like, our audience is like 85% UK, and they're probably like, "What the fuck?"
All just
are you talking
switching
about?
off at that moment.
And I love it. I think it's great. I think you should talk about it because it's funny, and I like how people don't know what the fuck we're talking about at times. That's what makes it really good. To be honest,
Sure.
That's what makes the show great. But yeah.
We're zooming today, if you couldn't tell. So you can thank Conor for that.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I mean, we've got Uncle Milko's going away dinner, haven't we, Kim?
I've never liked Uncle Milko.
So we got the going away dinner, and I'm sure you're the same. I literally finished work and like hopped in my car and like drove here because if I filmed with Aidan, I wouldn't have made the dinner at time. It's the dinner's at 6:30 and it's 5:20 now. So this is we're hitting the Mission Impossible today, but we had to get the filming done. So yeah, that's why for the Zoom. Thank you so much, Aidan, for being so understanding as always. Though I am very appreciative about that.
I mean, look, I think part of the reason why we've been able to do this weekly for so long is because we're both understanding of when things come up. Because there's been I've fucked you over way more times than you fucked me over. No, I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, there's been times where I've been on shoots and we've had to record it weeks in advance or whatever, and you've been super good about that. And so I feel like that understanding and giving ourselves the option to Zoom if we really need to is good. It's just makes people mad when we're on Zoom, Conor.
Yeah, audio's not as good, and obviously the flow isn't as good, and there's lag. But first of all, I never thought you'd ever fuck me over with that stuff. Like, I love you. I'm glad you're doing your shoots, and
illy.
I'm happy to work around you. If I didn't love the show, I wouldn't do it. So I never thought of it that way, but I appreciate you acknowledging that. It's never really been that much of a hassle, to be honest. Sometimes it can be, but not massively. But yeah, no, it's good actually. I'm actually really keen to talk about this episode because we haven't spoken about an episode of Doctor Who for a couple weeks. So, New Who, should I say? We've talked about Doctor Who. Fuck, this is how tired I am. I'm messing up everything today. God.
Yeah, it's been about a month, so we're kicking off Series 9 with a big old bang today, talking about the two-parter, The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar.
Woo!
2 titles that I hate because I don't think they make a lot of sense. Like, I get it, but I also just hate, like, I'm really bad with apostrophes and stuff like that. And so whenever I type these titles, I'm like, oh fuck, where's the apostrophe go? And like, so when I put it on Spotify, I've got to make sure there's no typo because God forbid everyone's going to let me know. We're the 50% Doctor Who podcast, baby. And we just like to bitch about shit.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
50% podcast. Oh, that's right. I can't hear it.
Can you not hear it? Oh, sorry. No, you should be able to hear it. I've obviously just done a setting.
Now I can. I think there was a lag. This is
so you were just dancing to nothing on the Zoom
anymore. Yeah, I think it took a while to kick in. But this is why we don't do the show every week through Zoom anymore, because it's shit like that that just makes the show.
Well, we did it for like a year and a half.
And it's a lag.
Or maybe even close to 2 years, didn't we?
Long time. Yeah, I think our 1 year... Was it our 1 year show that we did the first recording at Dan's? I think that was our 1 year episode.
In person.
Or was that our 50th episode? I can't remember. I think...
No, that was the first one we recorded the video of, but we'd recorded in person, you and I, but only audio before we were recording the video. God, this is some...
we used to do that for like openers and finals and stuff like that, you know. But
this is some riveting podcasting right now. The Magician's Apprentice is the first episode of the ninth series of the British science fiction television series Doctor Who, first broadcast on the 19th of September 2015, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Hattie MacDonald. It's the first of a two-part story. The second part, which is familiar, aired on the 26th of September. In the episode, the Doctor disappears and gives a confession dial, his version of a last will and testament, to his former childhood friend, Missy. Missy and the Doctor's companion, Clara, track down the location of the Doctor before his expected death, and the three are taken prisoner on the planet Skaro, where a weak and dying Davros, an enemy of the Doctor and creator of the Dalek race, seeks the Doctor after recalling an encounter with Davros's childhood. Dun dun dun! So Series 9 is a series that I've always talked fondly of, and I've always talked up like crazy. And when people always tell me, Aidan, you're so wrong. Like, what are you doing with your life?
You're so wrong.
It's so bad. And you know what? Watching this episode...
People say that about Season 9.
Watching this two-parter, man, I was like, fuck, I could be wrong here, couldn't I?
Really? You didn't like it?
No, I thought it was...
Oh my God.
I don't know. I didn't think it was great at all. I thought it was It was like... You know, like, when you write a script, right? You plot it all out. And you put things on boards and you figure things out before you start writing, right? At least that's what you're supposed to do, and that's the best way to find like your story before you write.
Yeah.
And look, I'm so like I know that Moffat and people involved would have done that for this, but it does not feel like it. It feels like Moffat just like got a glass of wine one night and just started writing, and all he knew was like the log line, like the one sentence plot, and then he just like made the rest of it up as he went. It just, especially part 2. For me, it just feels like this person goes to this person, and then we're still going to this. And the pacing, in especially part 2, is so naff. Like, I just think it's so... not for me. What do you reckon, Conor?
Interesting, because I thought... I've always really enjoyed part 1. I mean, like, seriously... I couldn't have been more excited when this first aired to come out. I was like, it's Capaldi's second season. Clara's like an established companion and stuff. I remember that Comic-Con trailer looking absolutely insane. It looked darker. I was so keen. And there was kind of like rumors floating around that Davros was going to come back. And this might not be serving me correctly, but I don't think they confirmed it until the episode. I think it was like... It was, which I think is really cool, by the way. It's really good, because they could have easily chucked it in the marketing, which they literally did with the next season with John Sims Master coming back. So I appreciate that. But I've always really loved the first part. I've always felt the second part drags too much. And I literally thought that today, because I was like, man, it really is just a lot of scenes of characters talking. One character sits and another one talks and walks around them. Then we go back to Missy and Clara, who are walking. They're in a sewer. They're in like all the city of Skaro. They're walking around in like the desert of Skaro. It's like, you know, it's kind of just people just sat around talking to each other. And I feel like there was one point in like part 2, I was like, you know what, this is actually a really interesting conversation between the Doctor and Davros, but I feel like this should be so much more interesting, especially since we've got the Doctor sat down with Davros and a Doctor like Peter Capaldi. I feel like there was only a couple of lines was like, you know, if you're gonna do an episode where the Doctor's like visiting Davros on his deathbed, like, you got to make it interesting. It's a big character piece. It's a very dialogue driven episode, especially in part 2. But yeah, sorry, long answer to that question, but I absolutely love part 1. I just love it. I love how we skip to all these different places. The pacing is whack, but I actually really enjoy it. Missy coming back. We go see Kate Stewart for a little bit. we get to see the Sisterhood of Calm. We get to see the Shadow Proclamation again, which is awesome. They even got the actress back from Stolen Earth, which I thought was cool. Awesome. We love continuity. And, the Doctor is party coming out, playing guitar on a tank. But
that's
what
fun.
do you think about this? Because, what do you think about, I know we spoke about this quite a lot, but I understand, in the episode, they're kind of trying to give the narrative of, the Doctor is dying, so that way he's kind of, he's become a lot more loose, but it does kind of feel, especially after watching season 8, it does feel very jarring how different his Doctor... It's a massive change. Did you pick up on that?
No, because I watched it and I just kind of was like, I thought about it when I was watching it, because I was aware that it's the common consensus that Pete's character is written really inconsistently. But I think he's obviously written so much different than he was in Deep Breath and Into the Dalek, but I don't think he's written different to what he was in Dark Water, Death in Heaven. I think his character naturally gets that way. And sure, him on a tank wearing hoodies and with his sonic glasses and stuff, that is a step further. But for me, it's a natural progression. I don't hate where it's at.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I've never hated it either. I think I really enjoyed the progression, but I guess what I didn't like the idea of, I didn't like the idea as I was like, oh, maybe Stephen was a bit oh, maybe we should lighten his Doctor up a little bit, when the stuff I liked was actually quite a lot of what his Doctor was in season 8. Whilst I was very excited to see him be a bit more mellowed out, I did find it a little bit jarring. Not to I know people are really obsessed with it. Not so much me. I think that I definitely noticed it, but it's probably because I watched season 8 with same as you only a couple of weeks ago. When it had been a year, I actually didn't notice that much. But I mean, it's a big costume change as well. I love the costume. It's so wacky good. And baggy, and it's just it's literally bananas. And I think that might have thrown some people off as well, because it kind of looks like he's just fucking around. But yeah, what did you think of the opening, by the way? Because that was a big reveal as well.
The opening is
with little Davros.
I think that's great. I think that's an awesome twist. It's always a rough line when shows and films, they go back and they try and show a bit of origin story thing, and they it's always kind of a red flag. But I feel like this did it really well, and I think it's a good thread throughout it with the Doctor's shame. And I think Pete, literally, when Pete first sees Davros or something, and Davros is shame brought you here. And I was looking at Pete's face, and I was like, that's the face of shame. Fuck, this guy's so good at acting. It's good. The hand thing coming out the floor, I think, is kind of fun. But then there's some CGI shots of it, and it's let's go back to the close-ups and
the hand mines and stuff.
Yeah, but I loved just to go back to what you were saying before. Part 1, I think, is definitely a lot better than part 2, and I did enjoy part 1. I think it builds stuff cool. It's cool to have a cameo of Kate and all sorts of little dogs barking like crazy. You'll pick that up on the mic.
Gem?
Not Gem. It's across the road. Shut up.
Oh, okay. Gem's having a fight.
Nah, not my Gem, mate. Don't you worry. And there's all sorts of cameos and stuff of old creatures and stuff, and I think that's really great. But it just... I don't know. When you get to the cliffhanger, Clara dies and the TARDIS is gone, and it's I know this is all going to come back because it's Doctor Who and it's episode 1 of a series. The cliffhanger made itself kind of redundant. But then part 2, the stuff you were saying about the Doctor and Davros, that for me was the highlight of both stories. Was them talking and having those conversations. I've always thought they were quite good. But then everything else, every time it cuts to Missy and Clara, it's oh my God. The writing is just so I don't know, Moffat really drunk on his red wine and trying to write a kids program. As Dylan would say, writing a CBBC program. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately one of Moffat's flaws is that his writing can be so good, but I think it really can be cringy. at times.
He just gets carried
And
away.
I kind of hate... Yeah, he gets carried away, and I hate seeing people like Michelle Gomez and like Olivia... Jenna Coleman and Peter Capaldi having to deliver some of these lines. I'm just like, I can tell you don't want to do this, but like, you know, you have to. And you know, and also I think this idea of a story is like, it should stand out so much more, but no one ever talks about it. This is a story about the creator of the Daleks and the Doctor literally just talking, and no one ever talks about it. And I just think that's pretty much the big takeaway from this episode. Because, like, I mean, it literally is like Moffat taking the line from Tom Baker. Is it from Genesis of the Daleks? Where he does that,
it is.
that whole monologue? Yeah, so he does that whole monologue, which is amazing, by the way. Even before I watched Classic Who, like, everyone kind of knew that monologue, and it's such an amazing monologue. And I think Moffat was like, "That's a fucking good idea. I'm going to take that."
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's just like the rest of the episode has no plot, and it doesn't really come back too much of the Doctor seeing Davros as a kid, to the point where like the last scene when he goes back to save Davros as a kid, I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, that's happening at the same time." Like, do you know what I mean? Like it just didn't feel connected.
Totally.
There's no like proper plot, I don't think. Like it just doesn't.
No, there's not. No,
there's a plot, but it's not. I don't know. It's just like a MacGuffin plot in a way.
No, I know what you mean. Like the plot is that Davros is dying, and like also I feel like, you know, they had to do something with Clara, and bringing Missy back so quickly is kind of weird because like she literally was just in the final, and I got no problem because I actually really like Missy's character. I think Michelle Gomez is really good. But it's like they bring her back so quickly. There's literally only been one episode in between. And I guess like I kind of get it because like, you know, where else would they put her in the season? And she's such a big part of season 10. I get they would want to use her at some point. But it kind of feels like it was just like, oh, we need someone to be with Clara because she can't be with the Doctor when, you know, Davros and the Doctor are having all these like scenes together. And it kind of just felt like, oh, who should we tack on to just be there? And it's like everything that she did in the season 8 final is like totally forgiven. And I get that's kind of the point of the Master, is that he/she would do all this shit and the Doctor's like, whatever. But it's like, this was so recent. Like all the shit that happened with Danny, all the stuff happened with the Cybermen, it's so recent, and they're kind of just like, okay, we'll just let it go. Even the fact that like Clara is even like wanting to, I know she doesn't really have a choice, but even the fact she's even just like talking to her at all.
And I agree.
You know, it's like, yo, she's responsible for your boyfriend's corpse being in like a Cyberman. Like, come on.
This episode
Maybe
has some like,
think it through.
This episode has seriously big dick energy. Like it,
that's Moff for you, isn't it?
Like right off the bat, it like makes itself seem like a finale. Like it's trying to flex, you know? Like
it really does.
All the way it starts is like Stolen Earth kind of vibes. It's, I don't know, and I enjoy that about it. But then it just so quickly dwindles into nothingness. You get the cool Daleks, the classic Daleks, which are utilized way better than in Asylum of the Daleks. And I love the little blue light that they've put on the edge of them. Like they've given them the modern blue light on the classic look. I think that's great. I'd be totally fine for like episodes where the Daleks are just the silver 60s Daleks with that blue. Obviously they look a little bit more modern, but I think they're pretty much the same shell and stuff. And I know they definitely look cheaper and faker. I don't give a fuck. It's Doctor Who. Like we've dealt with CGI plastic in episode 1 and stuff like that looks horrific. But so I'd love to see those boys come back, and you know, maybe around the 60th celebrations, even though I'm like, I don't want more Daleks. If they do the Daleks like that, I want more Daleks.
That's the problem with this episode, is like the Daleks are in Doctor Who so much that like it's lost all like there's no fear of them anymore. There's nothing,
no threat.
Like there's no threat. That's what I'm looking for. Like you're so right about the cliffhanger after at the end of episode 1. It's like, yeah, the TARDIS gets destroyed, Missy's dead, and Clara's dead. It's like, okay, they're not. Like you're an idiot to think that fucking you know that they are. But you know, I just think that like, you know, it's a shame because like this is a cool idea. Even the fact that Skaro is bad, but you know, we just have to accept this shit. Like Skaro is suddenly back. I don't know how. We just have to deal with it. Like Skaro is back, and Davros somehow survived stolen Earth, and it's
Yeah.
like, cool, what journey's end, sorry. It's like, cool,
I don't
we just
mind
gonna have
that
to
because
accept
it's
that.
like far enough after that happened. I kind of have this rule with like Masters and stuff like that, that when they come back and they don't reference shit, like if it's been like 3 or 4 seasons, I don't really mind. It depends how conclusive their death is. Like Sasha coming back after Missy only like 1 season before, and the Missy death making a point of being like, this is actually your death. Like I would prefer to even just like a 1-line reference to it or something.
A 1 line.
But like upon the whole,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't need full explanations, which they did a lot of explanations for like how Missy survived in this episode. And there's that whole black and white sequence with the Doctor, which was kind of cool, but also bizarre. Like everything's moving in slow-mo, but he's moving fast. And it's an interesting one.
That's another thing. They did the whole, like, Missy obviously survived getting zapped in the season 8 final, and it's like, okay, like, even as a viewer watching the first time, like, well, by the way, I already know Clara and Missy aren't dead, but there was that whole conversation, like, well, how did they survive? I'm like, well, probably the exact same way that Missy survived in the season 8 final. Like, it's just, it wasn't a cliffhanger that left you guessing much. As for the whole, like, look, Davros obviously, like, emergency temporal shift, classic Dalek line at the end of Stolen Earth.
One
Journey's
ship
End,
survived.
Fucking Stolen Earth. Yeah, one ship survived, except this time it's the fucking crew of the Daleks. But yeah, that's the thing, like, I do appreciate just one line. Like, from memory, I think in Dr. Falls, I think there's like one line with John Sims Master where the Doctor's like, so they fixed that problem with your head then, like the knock-in, because his was pretty like, it was pretty much implied that he went back to Gallifrey and was like there, so, and I think, if my memory serves correct, that's set after End of Time when you see him again. But, I can let some stuff go if it's well done. I think that the biggest issue with the episode is, and they have some kind of like lines to kind of try and cover it up, but it's like the fact that the Doctor would have any remorse for Davros to like be like, oh, you know, I'm giving you like one last chance to see like the sky, as much as it's lovely that this is what the Doctor is, you know, but like, and I get the end of the episode, it's like your compassion will always be the reason why you lose, and I kind of like that parallel, but I do find it hard to believe, even though he did leave a child to die on the, theoretically he did leave a child to die on the battlefield until the end, like, this is the creator of the Daleks, for Christ's sake, the person who has created the race that is destroyed so many people's lives, including your own planet. Like, I guess in the day, the Doctor's always going to be the better person.
Yeah.
But part of me was struggling to believe that he would even go to the extent of using a regeneration energy, which apparently is okay to do now. Like, I know it was a massive deal with River Song, and then like now he's using it on Davros of all people. It just, I don't know.
There's,
the boys, it's like, what's going on?
We'd be remiss, and this kind of goes into the Daleks not being a threat, and this kind of makes Davros a bit less of a threat, but we'd be remiss not to mention anyone for Dodgems, the Doctor in Davros's chair, and then Davros's torso frailing on the floor, saying, "Find the Doctor! The Doctor's escaping! Help me!"
I can't express into words how much I fucking hate that. Like, seriously, even as a fanboy watching that, I was like, this is fucking stupid. This is cringe. This is so ridiculous. I hated it. I think it's so dumb, and it's such a stupid way to, after the first episode, it all ended so climatically, just for him to fucking rip Davros off. It was just so dumb. I hated it.
Yeah,
I've always hated that.
And it also goes nowhere
so
because the Doctor just ends up back with Davros in the chamber and stuff. It was just like a time, buffing up the time thing.
It literally was, because Moffat was like, I got nothing else to do. I got nothing else to write. And it's like, okay, we'll just put Colony Saf's CGI snakes in Davros's
sometimes
Dalek.
looked good, sometimes looked horrific.
I know, it's weird. It did sometimes look... I thought the exact same thing. There was one time where he changed, and I was like, wow, that actually looked real. And then every other time I was like... What do you think of Colony Saf? He's on that. Remember those little gliding things
Like
everyone
a
used
Segway thing. But it's
the segways without the sticks to hold onto.
Yeah.
They were like the shit back in the day, and then like this guy, like the BBC are like, hey, we'll use this. It looks so silly when he's like sliming around.
Yeah, I don't mind it though. Like it's different.
He's just flying
it's
around.
Fun to
like,
do something different.
It's what snake moves that quick? It's just so dumb.
Did you watch the 2 prequels?
So I can only find one, but I have watched the other one before. I looked everywhere. I looked on like Daily Motion and YouTube and stuff, and I couldn't find it. But I have seen it, and I remember. Yeah, so one set on Khan, which is cool. So that hasn't been shown since the Paul McGann Minnesota. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's only like a minute and a half or so, and it's like fine. It like doesn't really do anything except there's one really cool shot at the end of the Doctor walking off, and it's like, ooh, Series 9's gonna be moody and it's gonna be dark. Mm-hmm. And then did you watch the prologue? Was it called the prologue? I don't think it's called a prelogue, is it? Sorry, a prequel, is it? They got like a different name for it. But the Doctor's meditation.
I had seen it. Yeah, the meditation. Yeah, and you get more of a backstory of the guy that he's going to fight. With who's dude. Like he's versing in like the axe fight with the dude. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think that was a lot of fun. It was super funny. When they're like, wow, Zoom's really abusing us with these meeting times at the moment. Sorry, Zoom is gonna kick me and Conor off this call in a second. But
God, Zoom, what you doing?
What you doing, Zoom? But and there's like that top down shot of the Doctor like pointing at his like, we're gonna dig here, dig here, dig here.
Yeah, they're digging, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun. Is that the one that you couldn't find?
That's one I couldn't find, but I have seen it because I know it ends with him being like a very long time ago, like a long way from here. I was looking for a bookshop, and then that's when it connects to the episode where he's like, I was looking for a bookshop, and it's the War Zone with Davros, which is cool. But yeah, that seems like a bit of a Blu-ray exclusive, which I know
but it was online
I'm a stan
originally,
boy.
So
it must have been because I watched it, and I it must have been on YouTube, but I couldn't. It's the prequels with these episodes, like you can find normally one of them, but there's always one that's like normally like exclusively Blu-ray. But yeah, that's the fucking BBC for you, innit?
That is very interesting.
My laptop's on 69%. That's saucy.
Yeah,
do you need to change
cannot find the Doctor's meditation anywhere.
I looked everywhere. I literally looked on like Daily Motion because I found the 5-ish Doctors on Daily Motion and stuff. So I was like, oh, sure, it'd be on here, but no, nowhere. It's that Blu-ray exclusive, man. This is why you buy physical media. Don't be fucking stupid like me,
dog. I mean, you have it on Blu-ray.
I do. But I got no Blu-ray players in the house.
Right. What do you think of the?
I think I said before.
What do you think of the big climax of the episode? The sewer Daleks coming out, breaking apart Skaro. Oh, Clara's in a Dalek. Oh, it's so good, right? No, it's shit. It's so shit.
No, I think it's actually really like bad, and I just think he clearly had no. You need a climax, I guess.
Yeah, there's like one line in the sewer that just explains the climax. I guess Yeah,
which explains the climax, and it's like, okay, this is just like you had no way of wrapping it up, and it's like, great, the Daleks are gonna rise to power, and then last second they don't, and you're at this point in the rewatch, you get really sick of it, like really quick, because it doesn't. You're like, I've seen this 1,000 times, my brother in Christ, can you do something different? Like, fuck, like this is just so. You've seen it 1,000,000 times. They're not going to win. We already know that. And he had something so unique with the whole Davros aspect, but
it was nice to have
Davo didn't get used that great.
It was nice to have some Series 4 Murray. Calling back to that.
Yeah, so Murray score came back from. I noticed some stuff from like Stolen Earth and stuff.
Yeah, I think like the Dark and Endless Night or something like that.
Yes, which was really cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yes, such a good piece.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. It's so
dun,
weird to
dun,
hear that
dun.
over like a parody episode. I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell?
Have you noticed
the
that
heckin' dog?
when we zoom the podcast, we talk way more like I feel like intellectually about shit, and also like we stay on topic a lot more. Maybe in person we're we're a bit more like comfortable and we just like chit chat. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's hard to go off topic sometimes, I guess, when we're zooming. And also, like, I feel like I never check how long we've been recording for when I film with you, but I got the physical proof like in front of me with my Audacity in front of me. So like, you know, you try and, I guess, keep on track more. I don't know. I think this is why the show got successful when we stopped doing Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why, okay? This is why they're like, fuck this.
Just to quickly harp back to you looking at the timing. This is going to be a shorter episode, so apologies for that. It's not our best episode. It's a shorter episode, but it is what it is. We got to move. We got to move on with life, don't we, Con?
We got that family dinner, you know?
The
family dinner.
That's right.
I wonder if Kim will come and do a cameo on the show.
Kim, you want to pop your head in?
Okay.
Come on, Kim.
Can't hear you, but Kim, are you gonna come say hi? You want to just no? You don't?
No, it's
okay.
a firm no. A firm no.
And to think that we have to Zoom because of Kim's uncle, and she's not even making a cameo on the show.
Disrespect.
What the hell?
No, she just doesn't like me, Conor. She just doesn't want to see me.
Yeah. Do you not like Aidan? Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is.
You don't? She
She's saying-
shook her head, and then she said, "I do." She's giving me mixed signals right now.
That is
Aidan.
mixed. I don't like that.
Can we talk about the TARDIS we saw? Oh my god, Aidan, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
Okay, so the place that we saw the TARDIS, if you look on our Instagram and Twitters, you'll find it. I ran into, you know, the people that were behind us at the Peter Cushing movies, the ones that we spoke about on the show, who were like constantly laughing and stuff.
Yeah.
I ran into them at Planet Royale, and I knew it was them, and it was literally the two people that were behind us. They're even in the vlog, because when we were walking in, I was filming, and they walked in as well, and they were the people that were sat behind us.
Right.
And they're called like the perf nerd herd. And I was like, fuck it, you know what? I'm gonna go up and say hi. So I went up to them, and they were so lovely, and they're like, you need to join our Facebook group. And I was like, sure. So I joined the perf nerd herd, and I said, look, I got a Doctor Who podcast. That's why we were at the Peter Cushing movies, and she was like, oh, we got we got like a place where people can like advertise their like shows and stuff and their YouTube channels and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's sweet. But yeah, it was like, what were the chances? I was like, I ran into these people again. So I saw them in Luna and at Luna Leaderville, and I saw them in a place called Planet. Is it Planet Royale?
Planet Royale, yeah. It's like an arcade, but also a pub, and they show movies there. Me and Nick went and watched Shaun of the Dead. I was having some beers there.
Oh, you lucky bastard. That's so cool. So how was that? Was that fun? Because I know how much you love Edgar Wright. Me too, but yeah.
It was cool because, like, every time I've been, like, you know, the second floor, it's kind of like a lobby, and you get drinks there and stuff. Every time I've been, it's like people have been going into the movie, right? And, like there's been people waiting there, and then they'll go into the movie that's on. And I've always only been there for, like, half an hour or so, like, between pubs and stuff, and sort of been like, oh, you know, I wonder what movie's on. I don't want to buy a ticket, though. I don't know if you have to buy a ticket or if you just buy drinks, because it's not like... It's not a cinema. It's just like a feature of this pub. But maybe you do have to buy tickets. But basically, Nick and I were like on the second floor, and there was a few people there, but we were like just sat with our drinks pretty close to the theater door. And I was like, should we just go have a look and just see like if there's someone to check tickets and just see what the go is? And she was like, sure. And we actually thought maybe you guys would be in there because you'd been offline for a bit, because you and Kimmy were out at the time as well. And
you just missed us. Yeah, we were like an hour apart at this pub. But yeah.
And so Nick and I walked in, and Shaun of the Dead was on, and I was like, oh, Conor and Kimmy, they've got to be sat in here. This is like one of Conor's favourite movies. So I
do love Shaun of the Dead.
We went and sat down, and yeah, it turns out you guys weren't there, but the screen that it was showing on was so shit. It was like a big LED screen, and it just looked horrific. Like, it didn't... Like, the colours looked good. There was just like, when things were in motion, everything was like... I don't know, it just looked horrific. But... Yeah, and that was the same place where they have a TARDIS that you can take photos at, which
Right.
me and Connor both took photos at like an hour or so apart.
An hour apart. Well, that's a shame because I when I heard you were seeing it, I thought it was like similar to the experience I had in like 2020 when I went to go see like The Hangover at the theater,
Right.
which is like, you know, it was so important to see it in the theater, and it was such a lovely experience. So it's a shame because when you said you were going to see Shaun of the Dead, I thought you were I thought it was like going to be watching it in the theater like you would when it came out, but okay. It was more of like a projector. That's a shame. But
No, it wasn't a projector.
still,
It was like it would have been nice if it was a projector. It was like an LED screen, and it just looked.
like an LED, kind of like projected from an LED, or like
No, like
that's kind of like what I'm picturing.
no, like a. I don't even know how to explain it.
It's an actual like TV. There was
Yeah,
no
it's like an
projector.
actual really big TV,
Oh,
but like less pixels
I
than a
see.
normal TV. Like it's, I don't know, like the screens you'd see at
Okay.
like a music festival. I think, like that kind of.
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
It didn't look great.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's
Was it a big
interesting.
theater, or
What was
it
that?
a big theater?
It was average sized. Like it wasn't big. It maybe sat like 100, 125 people maybe.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to peek my head in, but it was closed when we went. But
Yeah, well, it was closed, but we just,
Yeah.
I don't know, we just walked in.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. So you didn't get to watch the whole thing. It like already started.
Yeah, we just watched the last like 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn. Interesting.
Cheeky buggers.
It's actually a really cool place.
You
though.
had a
Like,
bit
it
of
is really cool.
news.
Yes, I do have a bit of news. And this is something that we love to talk about on the show here because we love to take little breadcrumbs, don't we? And
Mate,
just run
as
with them.
Doctor Who fans, what you do is you hear someone say, "Oh, I saw the Doctor the other day," and then everyone goes, "Oh, they're in Doctor Who," right? That's how it works.
Actually,
So we've had a bit
Yeah.
of news from the old KG. Am I right?
yeah. So Karen Gillan did like a one of those like Instagram Q&As where people sent in like anonymous questions and stuff, and then someone said something like, you know, what are you working on next? And she said, I'm working on something that I can't talk about, and it's not a movie. So people instantly think it's Doctor Who, because Doctor Who's the only TV show that ever exists, obviously. Like, there's no other TV shows ever. And she's like, will be revealed soon. And this is normal stuff. Like, there's every project she probably works on, like, normally she could probably never talk about anything. So it's like it's not out of the ordinary, but then people saw that and instantly assumed that she's going to be coming back
Amy
do
Pond
one of the
confirmed
60th
for
specials.
60th anniversary.
Yeah, Amy Pond confirmed. That's what the clip would be called. That's how we get them in. That's how we get people to click.
But just so it's not
people
clickbait,
love that
you have
era.
to put a question mark.
Is she back? Or am I like making the statement, you know? Like, she
Yeah.
is back, or is she back, you know?
She's
Look,
back.
I don't know how you feel about this, but like, you know, I think there could be a chance that she would come back, because obviously we had big Hollywood actors like Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch with like season 3 and 4 of Sherlock take pay cuts with the BBC. Like, Karen wouldn't come back to Doctor Who for the money. She'd do it for the fans, and she'd do it because she really loves the
agree.
character, and that's where she got her big start. So I don't know if that would ever be an issue. Is it actually happening? Is that what it is? Like, never say never. I remember when people were saying that Catherine Tate is coming back, and I thought it was a load of baloney, and I was proven wrong about that. I even thought beginning of this year, David Tennant coming back, I thought was an absolute load of baloney. So, you know, I've been proven wrong before, but
Yeah, I think it's
you're
just
more
one of those
skeptical
things
than
that's
me,
like.
normally. What do you think?
I think it's just one of those things that's like scheduling dependent, and if she's asked, like, you never know. This might just be the 3 specials of David Tennant and Donna Noble. Like, who knows? But it would be cool if she's coming back. I think her message was kind of cryptic, where she maybe could be. But I'm also aware there's a page on Twitter called Doctor Who Production News, and they tend to be pretty on the money about when things are filming and where they're going to be filming.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they've said that their sources at Bad Wolf have said that they've finished filming everything for the 60th now, and they've got a break until later this year, like October, November. Pretty much once they finish Sex Education, and that's when they're ramping up production again. So you'd assume that's then for series 14 with Shooty.
Yeah, I heard about that as well. Yeah, and so Rachel is back in LA, so all her stuff is done. I know we got 2 other directors for the other 2 specials, so...
Well, we don't know.
Look...
We know there's...
We don't know
We pretty
either.
much know there's 3 specials. Like, that's been pretty much confirmed by the multiple directors and the stuff we've seen on the slate and stuff. We know that one's definitely Rachel. We know that one's definitely... I don't remember her name, but there's another director who put an Instagram post up saying she was directing. But then, you know, we don't know who the potentially 3rd director is. It could be another director. It could be maybe Rach directed 2. I'm not sure. One thing that I was thinking was, like, maybe... one of the specials is like a kind of like a 2-parter or something, or like there's some kind of crossover. Like they're probably separate episodes, but like maybe the last scene of the first special carries over to like the first scene of the second special. Because remember that first time that Talele was on set and she said, I was on set for Doctor Who, but I wasn't directing, and everyone thought she was like kind of taking the piss, and she definitely could have just been taking the piss.
But maybe she could be like, yeah.
Well, maybe it was like there was another director directing that sequence, but Rach was there to help like guide it so it's where it picks up, so she can pick it up properly when she takes over for the next episode. I don't know. That's just like a wild thought of random speculation, but and if it's like a more unknown director, then perhaps no one saw who that director was. I don't know.
I do think there is going to be more to the 60th than what we're seeing, and I would be surprised if especially Matt doesn't have something to do with it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I could be completely wrong. Like, it could already have all been done, and, you know, whenever... Yeah, I've heard for a while as well that once Shooty's done filming Sex Ed Season 4, that's when they'll film Doctor Who, and that makes sense. Like, it does make sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I really hope so. I think even if they're not in it, I think we're gonna get a real treat and a real surprise. But obviously, the fanboy in me does want to see like Amy and Rory come back and see Peter again. But I do think as fans, we do kind of get a bit caught up in the idea that is going to happen, and like, of course, they're going to do it. But also, realistically, it actually might not. Like, and I'm trying to get myself prepared for that. I know you are, and I hope other people are as well, because there is a chance that it just might not happen. Plus, we're in a really sticky situation at the moment with the Centenary Air in October. They can't. They want to not release stuff either, so that could be another thing why we're not hearing about this stuff either. Like,
they might as well. Clearly, the BBC is not promoting the Centenary.
No, and I don't know why. I really do feel bad for Jodie. Like, it's a shame. It really is. Like, we don't even have the release date, for fuck's sake. It's in a few months. Like, it's ridiculous. We have a name, a release date. Like, I don't know. Everyone's quick to blame Chibnall. Of course, they would be. They're like, oh, it's always Chibnall's fault. And I'm like, come on, like, settle down, for fuck's sake. Like, I don't think it is his fault. He wrote it. He wants people to see it.
Yeah.
Like,
have you seen like...
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
Have you seen this beef online where it's like some people from like SFX magazine and stuff like that have said that they've like put out tweets saying, yeah, the BBC, they didn't give us stuff in time for the October publication or the September publication or whatever. So like there's not going to be any Doctor Who content in that. And like, I don't know, everyone seems super salty about it that's working like in magazines and stuff, because like Doctor Who used to be such a big thing, right? It would be like on the cover for all those special episodes and stuff like that, and now they're like, yeah, they don't get anything because the BBC leave it too late, and it's like the Centenary was finished, you know, we know for ages it's been finished, right?
So long ago.
It's not like it's because they're still working on it. It's I don't know why they play that card so close to their chest. I'm not a marketing expert, so I'm not going to speak anymore on this. But yeah,
I think unfortunately, and I think this is really sad, like really, really sad. The BBC, this is just my opinion, like, people can disagree with me, you can disagree with me, but I just think the BBC have, like, they've listened to the fucking hate so much, they're like, oh, this is just gonna be bad, like, we'll let it play out in October, and then we know Russell's coming back, we know how happy the fans are, they love how that Dave is coming back, and Catherine, it's like, let's just get this trash out of the way, and maybe if we don't mention it, people won't shit on it, and it might just go past, and it'll air, and no one will realise, and I'm like, you know, I could be completely wrong, but I think it's pretty right. Like, it's a shame because, like, bro, respect the fact that Jodie's been the Doctor for 5 years. Respect the fact that Chris Chibnall has been the head writer for 5 years. Like, come on, like, regardlessly if you disagree with their era or not, like, they have a right to finish their story. Like, come on, like, what is a release date gonna hurt? Like, is it really gonna hurt to give us a release date or a title? Like,
oh my god, I cannot believe we are potentially 2 months out from this episode and we don't know what it's called. Dude, Doctor Who fans, we're the worst. Like, we're just having a sook that we don't know what an episode's called.
I know there's a lot more issues in the world right now, Aidan, but I am mad because, like, trust me, I'm not a fan of Chibnall's era, but I can respect the fact that he is a human being and he did his story, and I can respect that Jodie is a human being and she is one of the Doctors. Like, you know, I know you feel the same way as me. I know a lot of people do, but I'm like, it's actually really bad that the BBC are not treating this special with the respect that it actually deserves. It's just really shit at them. I'm just getting quite upset about it.
It's also there, not just as a regeneration story. It's also there to celebrate 100 years of the BBC itself.
100
And they're just
years.
like, I don't want to celebrate anymore.
Years.
Like, we commissioned it, we spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on this episode, but we don't want to celebrate it anymore. We'll just shove it under the rug. I don't know. It's a weird one.
Literally, Doctor Who getting second on like the BBC's most like influential shows, where it was.
Honestly.
Just behind Only Fools and Horses, and like you're gonna look how they massacred my boy. You know, I'm like,
My
come
boy.
on, just give some respect. give some respect. You know,
I am going to very quickly rattle through 2 very quick goofs of the week. Been a long time since we've done this segment, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait to hear this thing again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Australia's favourite segment. It's Goof of the Week. You love to hear it. Goof of the Week is the segment where we talk about little goofs, where they've stuffed things up in making it. And both of these goofs kind of, one is maybe one sort of in the execution of how they did something on set, and the other one is just like Moffat kind of being silly. Maybe he really was quite drunk whilst writing this episode. Who knows? The first one is on the Dalek. When Clara first gets into the Dalek, which is a weird plot point that we didn't really talk about, but it's really shit. Missy's like, now go left, and Clara goes to camera. No, she goes go right, and camera goes Clara. Fucking hell. I'm trying to talk fast and completely butchering my words. Missy goes, can you go to the right? And Clara goes to camera right, but she doesn't, but that's her left. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, because it gets flipped.
And I know this is like I don't know, it's like a dumb thing. But yeah, surely, I don't know. And then when she's asked to go to the
really
left,
quick,
she goes to her right. It's weird.
Really quick, it was obviously like reminiscent of Messiah and the Daleks with Clara being a Dalek. Either way, continue.
Thoughts, feelings, and stuff that they never addressed. And the last thing that I want to say is that Clara is like, she's in the Dalek, and the Dalek is, you know, when you're emotional is when it fires the gun, and she's sat there facing off with the Doctor and the Doctor and Missy, and she's getting all emotional because she's like, I am not a Dalek. I'm a Dalek. But she's saying I'm Clara. And like they're about to kill her, and it's like she's emotional. Fire that fucking gun and kill Missy for one. Like, but also, regardless of that, because that's a small thing. The other thing is she goes mercy, and the Doctor's like, that shouldn't be in your vocabulary. One, like, why is that now in their vocabulary? Because everything else Clara's tried to say, the Dalek filter has got rid of. Why is mercy a word that the Dalek can say that it shouldn't say? And 2, the Doctor then says, the Doctor says it's not in your vocabulary. Another Stephen Moffat script in The Big Bang, when Riversong points a gun at the stone Dalek,
mercy.
The Dalek goes, mercy!
Mercy!
Like, I don't understand how that happened. The Moffat wrote that script, and it's such a big part of that scene where it's like, mercy! Sorry, I got really worked up.
There's a little bit at the end where, you know, the Doctor's like, I saved you because of mercy, and you have to remember, always mercy. And it's like, I guess they're trying to say that a little bit of Davros carried through to the Daleks, and it's like not enough for me
see.
to go. I ain't standing up and clapping for that shit.
Sounds like you
I'm
really
sorry.
like the ending.
No, not really. I think it's sweet that he holds the hand of a child and like walks off into
That's
a battlefield. It looks nice. I actually really dug the direction in these episodes, by the way.
Yeah,
personally.
bits and bobs I thought were cool. But we didn't even talk about the plane
and
stopping
bobs.
and freezing. God, there's so much we didn't talk about this episode. The 8 snipers.
Because it's fucking stupid. It's so dumb. It is literally ridiculous. Like I hate that. As much as I loved the first
she
episode, I thought
stop-starts
that
the
shit
plane.
was so dumb. It's Moffat making Twitter jokes again. Hashtag, the planes have stopped. Get out Twitter. Twitter? Yeah, because every 8-year-old has Twitter. Maybe these days, but not in the past, baby. I got Twitter when I was like 18, 19. Yeah, I remember when Dan got Twitter, and I was like, fuck that, I ain't getting Twitter.
And then like 2 days later,
Now I'm addicted.
you got Twitter.
A year later.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that we didn't talk about that we probably could have, but that's fine. The Magician's Apprentice, The Witch is Familiar. Connor, what are you going to rate it out of 10?
You know what? I forgot. Do we give them both the set?
It's
like,
a combined
Do I give
score.
one rating for both episodes? Okay, that's how long it's been since the 2-part, because I forgot. I'm gonna give it a 7, because I really do like the first part, but I really do not like the second part. But there is stuff in the second part that's quite good. Not enough to warrant more than a 7, and that's been a bit kind, I think. But yeah, 7.
Okay, that I think is quite kind. I'm giving it a 6, and part of me, whilst talking about it, is like I kind of want to make it lower than that because I'm not liking what I'm talking about. There's so much shit that we could talk about, but it's always just saying it's bad, like, and that's just not fun.
Oh yeah, and I feel like an opener should be a lot better and stronger and have more of a narrative. To be honest, like it sets up some stuff, sure, but it's not strong enough of a narrative for me to warrant a 2-part opener. Like it should have been so much better than it was, but unfortunately, it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, we got to run. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we got to run. Kim, last chance. Do you want to say goodbye? You want to quickly just put your hand in quickly? Just
Wave
put
your hand. I want to see Kim's hand.
Wave your hand. Come
Wave
on,
your
Kim,
hand.
please,
The people
for
want
me,
to see
for
your
me.
hand,
Put-
Kim.
Just, I swear,
The
just
hand
your
fetish
hand.
people
It's
want to
proof it's
see
not
your
mine,
hand.
Just your hand.
Oh my god, it's a hand mine. It's a
It's a hand.
it's a hand mine.
I didn't make my girlfriend up. She's real. I promise.
We don't know. That could have been your mum.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry for the shorter episode this week, guys. I'm sorry that we're on Zoom and it's a bit of a mess. And we'll see what I can do with the edit.
That
to
was
fix
all
a
right,
lot of this
actually,
stuff.
considering we're going through Zoom.
Connor, my dearest friend, I hope you have a lovely dinner, and I hope it goes well. I hope it was. Don't get
Goodbye,
into trouble
Milko.
again. Don't ask
He's
for vapes
leaving.
from Vape Boy, and all that kind of thing.
I will not ask for a vape again, Aidan. I did not tell
that.
that story on the podcast last week, Kim.
Now Connor's going to
I
be
will
in
not
trouble.
ask for a vape again. Okay. Okay.
Thanks for
I
listening,
love
guys.
it.
We're going to sing Connor's favorite song. It's time to wrap up the show. Next week, Before the Flood and the Under the Lake. I don't know what way around those episode titles are, but that's fine. 3, 2, 1. It's Aidan's and Connor's podcast. We're doing Doctor Who reviews. Doing Doctor Who reviews.
Hey.